Hey everyone, welcome back to the shop. It's Friday afternoon, probably about 4:45. It's been a long day. The good news is I got the decals today. Bad news is I had to modify this one to tighten the letters up a little bit. For those in the sign biz, the kern distance on this, the way they had it set up, was too far apart, so I had to cut. It's probably about 3/7 inch out between each letter slash number. And then the other thing is I paid way too much for this. I'm not going to bring up price, but it was way too much. So yeah, I mean, you know, if you want really good work, you got to pay for it. I just didn't want to pay that much. Anyway, so it is. So regardless, it's done. It's ready to go. And if I need any, because I noticed there's a couple little things that were missing on the two different name badges up for the front. So I got to call them up and say, hey, I need a couple of these little pieces cut out just so I can fix it. Because they're two different ones. So apparently somewhere in their design, they printed out the first one, then they changed the design, they printed out the second one. I have no idea. Anyway, so that'll get taken care of. That's not that big of a deal. Anyway, let me show you how I am getting things set up. I've got the other side already marked out. And I don't know how well you're going to see this, and I'm hoping you can, because with a lack of light in here, you can see I got a piece of fishing line. And it runs all the way down the side, and here is the anchor point. Here's where I'm marking from. So I make the marks from the bottom up, so we're matching on both sides, and it's about pretty close to 3/7 inch back here, and that's where it's going to terminate, right in front of this on both sides. So as it comes up, I'll be making little markers, because this is going to come down, and then when the tape's got to go up, this is not going to be here. Of course, I'll make little markers to follow. Now when I come up, I had to make sure I hit this much on the bottom of this window. That's how it was in real life, and that's the way it was on his original. So it's got to hit here and then come across the door. In Margaret's real plane, this door was set up differently than the model, so I didn't have much of a choice, but it's going to match the same one that was originally on here. So what's going to be painted black, because it's going to come in from here when I get the lower piece. You'll see it. It's going to come across here. It's only what's painted orange will be painted black. So there's going to be a sliver of black here. It'll be black back in here for a little bit, and then up here for a little bit. And that's the only part of that, because in real life they didn't want to obscure her view with the black stripe coming across it. They wanted to leave as much open as possible. So that's the way that's getting set up. And I had to make sure that this side was going to match this side, so we're good to go. And the doors have to come off before it gets painted. The windows got to come off before it's painted. This side, this is where it's way too dark on this side of the plane. This side's already set up. I've got all the marks put out where it's got to go. The door is already taken apart, and I'll go in the shop and show you the other side. This is already taken out, the window's gone, so before I put the window back in, I'm going to touch this up with some black just to get rid of those bare wood marks. Alright. At least I'm finally learning how to duck so I don't hit my head on that door. Alright, here is what the door looks like so far, if I can find it. Here's the window. And this is, I've got to tape the rest of it, but this is that little teeny piece on the bottom that gets taped. And this is what the door is going to look like. The only thing that's going to get sprayed is this little piece right here, and then this part right here, and then right here. And that's the only way it was on her plane. I'm going to paint this little piece of clear, because that's where the lock is, and you're not going to notice this. I'm just figuring, you know what, instead of cutting out a little piece to put in here to fill, I'm just going to spray across it. So this is the only part that gets painted black here, and the only part that gets painted black here. Told you it's been a long day. So yeah, so I'm going to go get everything ready and start taping. So as soon as everything is done taping, just before I spray, I'll let you take a look. It's going to be a lot of prep. what's going to be underneath down on the tabletop is no big deal. That's just got to just drop straight down. I've got to cover it over the top, so I got to figure out how I want to do that. I'll figure it out when I get to it. So anyway, look at that. I'm actually don't have enough light on me. There we go. That's a little better. So anyway, I will bring you guys back just to see how everything is finally prepped, ready for spray. I do have enough primer. I do have enough black paint, and once I get both sides done, it's going to be, you know, one quick shot of primer and then, you know, a quick shot of black paint, and that's done. And just take it off with the hopes that I don't start popping off orange paint. Alright, we got the first stage done. You saw it on a little speedy up video. Thanks to Mr. Hero. Okay, came out pretty good. This I already had a little piece of, let me turn this so I can see it. And I'm hoping that the lighting's going to be okay because it's getting dark in here. It looks like it's going to rain outside again. This was a piece that flaked off earlier, so no biggie there. That's expected. This piece popped off tonight. This little piece up here popped off. And this is good back here, except there's just a couple little bleed throughs on the bottom. And as much as you try to get this so that it's properly burnished in, you don't want to do it on the side, because this little thing right here, that was a Allen wrench. Just bumped it. And this one over here, another Allen wrench, was different time Allen wrench. Bumped it and just popped it off. So I've got to go ahead and just dab that up. So I mean, for you guys that have been watching these videos, you pretty much know what this plane's going to go through in life, or its second life. You know, it is what it is. So my goal, like I said, is to fly it, and hopefully it looks good. And if it just gets weathered a little bit earlier, that's fine by me. It's you know, it's the way planes are. The more they get used, the older they look. And if this one looks a little bit older, a little bit too soon, that's still fine, just as long as it works. So I gotta see how the weather's going. If I want to try to spin it around and get the other side done, or just wait on that. I still got the cowling almost ready to paint now. That's what I was doing while I was waiting for this to set up. So I've got the doors already taped, ready to spray, the windows ready to spray, and the cowling's halfway done, ready to, so I got another 5 minutes, the cowling's ready to go too. So who knows, maybe I'll just spin this thing around, and let's see if we can get the striping done tonight. Alright, welcome back. It's a little after 8 o'clock, and because it's still rainy outside, it's getting very dark. So let me show you as quickly as I can, with the hopefully that it'll look okay if I get the light just right here. Alright, the striping is all done on the fuselage. It's done on the cowlings, it's done on the door, and it's done on the little side windows. So the striping is done. And like I said, I'm going to try to treat you the best I can at what we got. Let's go into where it's brighter just for a moment. Here's the numbers. The numbers are going to fit right up in here, just like this. And this is going to be another video, well, it'll be part of this video afterwards. But there's the numbers for each side. And got awful expensive little decals. They're going to go right here. They're going to be squeaked in pretty tight, but you know, I'm going to trim around it so I know how they're going to fit, because it's just on a big chunk of, you know, sheeting. So anyway, so this is where it's going to go, here on this side, on the other side, and then all I'm going to have to do is just get the CG finalized and get it outside and start it up. I can get it started before I, testing out the new prop hub. I can get it out and do that first, because it's, you know, the earliest I could possibly get this thing. I got to see my work schedules next week. But you know, if we have some good weather and the wind's coming in the right direction, our field is, for those of you who have been up there, they know what the field looks like. For those that are watching this from anywhere else in the United States, world, wherever, it's slightly uphill to the south. So whenever you're doing a maiden flight, especially on a big plane, you prefer to land it uphill. That way, if you come in a little bit hot, you know, gravity, you're going uphill. It's going to slow it down a little bit quicker. So that is my goal, but you know, I've had to land them downhill before, and I don't like it, especially with a plane like this. So if I get a wind out of the west, we should be good. If I've got to land downhill, the best wind I can have for the maiden flight would be either south or, better yet, southeast wind. and they're rare up here. But a southeast wind, you're uphill, and with the direction of our field, with our flight line, southwest breeze is perfect. So anyway, let me go ahead and call this a night and just get everything cleaned up, and then it may not be tomorrow, it may be Sunday morning early. Come on in and we'll get the decals put on. So I'll see you when I'm back down the shop. Hey everyone, welcome back to the pit. It is Saturday night, probably about 7:30, and I don't know if we got more weather coming in, but it was actually a beautiful day today. Perfect day to go back to work. So anyway, I got home from work and went right to work, and you guys know on what I went right to work on. All of the lettering is done. The lettering is on the plane. That's what we're looking like. These are the little things I want to get changed out, and I'll show you what they look like on the other side. But yeah, we're on, and this went on easier than I was hoping. I did. It's kind of hard to see because I touched up. There was a couple little spots where it popped the paint off, and that was just the masking tape. This, not a problem. I thought that the release paper that this came on would want to stick, but I did a test piece up front, up here, where you can't get it to, where you can't get it to want to pop off. It didn't want to stick to it, so the release paper was good. This took forever, because to try to get this stuff to stick to the release paper and pull off, it took about, I'd like to say for both sides, it probably took me about almost an hour to get this side and the other side. So it is done. This is the nicer artwork on this side. So I want to get these things recut for the other side, just so it looks better. And I did leave this little thing in the middle because nobody knows what the heck it is, so that's where it's going to live. So, but yeah, it's all done. And all I need to do is just get it back up outside. I'll probably do it tomorrow afternoon when I get home, and get it fired up. See how the prop hub works with the starting my electric starter. So hopefully everything will go well. You know, once again, fingers crossed. So I just wanted to give you guys a little heads up on where everything is, and it's one day closer to flying. So hopefully we can see her up in the air within about maybe a week and a half at the most, I'm hoping. So we'll see. I got probably another, I think I told you, another probably at least two or more hours of trying to get this thing rebalanced again with the prop hub offsetting the weight I put in the nose. So I gotta wait till somebody else comes over, and hopefully I could do this maybe tomorrow afternoon. We'll find out if I can bring somebody over, or early tomorrow morning. I'm kind of hoping more for the afternoon, just so I can see how much it looks like it's out of balance, because it's going to be more nose heavy, which is better than more tail heavy. So it might be such a small amount, I may just leave it the way it is for the maiden flight, and then if I wanted to take some out later on, I could take some out later on. So it's better to have it nose heavy on the maiden flight than to have it tail heavy. So alright, next time I'm back down here, I will bring it back, and let's just keep thinking happy thoughts. Alright, it's Sunday afternoon, shortly after 5 o'clock. I got the bird back down on the ground, filled with gas, got both cameras rolling. My co-pilot bailed, so I'm going solo on this one. So if all of a sudden you see me hit the ground trying to grab a towel, it's to wrap up something bleeding. So anyway, let's go ahead and give this a shot, and hopefully everything's going to work nicely. Like I said, hopefully. Okay, we got the fuel up. All right, I'm happy. Did you see the smile? All right, it's that electric starter. That was key. I spun it without the choke on just to see if it would drop enough fuel with the choke off, and it didn't. So as soon as I, had pulled the choke on, it's probably the typical 20-something spins, and it just started kicking. So it does start up, run good. I had a little problem with the carb balance, and it just goes to show you how very little affects that. And that's what I got it to the point where right now I'm kind of happy with it. Off camera, I'll probably work it a little bit, but right now I think everything's good for flying. I'm not concerned about that little burble because my Piper Cub does that on its Zenoa, which has a magneto, and the my giant scale, my big biplane, that runs on a Zenoa G38, and I don't think I've ever had that one have that little sputter to it, which, it's the way things are. So the little sputter, just as long as the engine keeps running, doesn't really concern me that much. I just wanted to make sure that I had a good, easy way to get it started without throwing my shoulder out again. So the starter and the hub worked really well. So once again, thanks to Paul and Tom for getting that done. It looks like it might be a little out of balance, but the problem is it's only at certain RPMs, and it's because the way that attaches is to the plate that holds the mounting plate for the prop. And if that is just 1 degree off, or even a half a degree off, it's going to create that wobble. So that's what it's doing. When I go in to if I've got to make any adjustments to the plane, because right now it's kind of windy out, and I'm going to try to just check out the CG myself. And I'll probably record it so you guys will see it too. That way I can go back and just review through the video if it looks like it's good enough for me. All right, I got both of you guys angled up. You're about a foot over the top of the GoPro, so that way I got two levels to work with, just to see how, and I'll match both up just so I've got a good idea of what it's gonna look like. So I think I've got you in the proper position, so let me just tilt this down a little bit, and let me go lift it up and hope for the best. All right, that thing is a tank. Okay, I am pretty happy with the way that looked from my standpoint. Up front, that looked fine. It looked like, and I had it at the 30%. It looked like it was just a little bit tail high, a little bit nose low on my part. I'll wait and see how you guys see it, with the hopes that the cameras, between these two cameras, I might just have to. I don't have a level on them. So anyway, let me see how things go, and I'll let you know.